Hi there, this is Math 7, Unit 6, Lesson 13, our CUSD homework, reintroducing inequalities. Alright, so this first one here is a review again, or a cool down from the lesson. So it says here's an inequality, negative 2x is greater than 10, and I want you to list some values that would make this inequality true. And part B says, how are the solutions to the inequality different from the solutions to this inequality? And explain your reasoning. You can see the difference we know right now is this sign is greater than or equal to, and this is just greater than. So talk about the differences of what solutions you would get there and why they are different. All right, number 2. Number 2 says, I don't think this is a cool down, just guessing. It says determine whether each value makes each inequality true or false. So what you want to do is you're going to just look at each little inequality statement here and drop the number in. So in this case here, we would say 25 in the place of x. So is 25, oops, 22, oh goodness, it's been a long day already. Is 25 greater than or equal to 25? Well, it's definitely equal to, so this would be a true statement. If you put negative 25 in the place, would you say negative 25 is greater than or equal to 25? No, this is less than that, so that would be a false statement. The next one, we'd say negative 12 is greater than or equal to 25. Again, that's smaller than that, so this is another false statement. And is 12 greater than or equal to 25? Nope, it is also small, so that's a false statement. So in your responses, you don't need to write the whole inequality down. I just want to write down so I could just verify and see if that's true. Okay, so on the first one, you just pop it in there. On the other ones, you're going to have to do a little bit of work. This is 2 times 25, which is going to be 50. So again, is 40 greater than 50? No, that's a false statement. Okay? Then for the rest, you'll plug those in and see what you come up with. Okay? So that's this row. You'll complete that row right there. If I was to do, for example, this row right here, I'd do 12 times negative 2 is negative 24. Is negative 24 less than negative 50? No, I think about negatives here. Negative 24 is actually greater than negative 50, so this is also false. So again, just fill that table in and see what you come up with. There's a lot of different problems. Number 3. Tonight's homework's a little bit longer here. It says find 2 values for x that would make the inequality true and 2 values that would make the inequality false for each one of these statements here. So they really want you practicing here tonight. So knowing this is the case here, we want to find something that is true less than 42. Well, x could be 1, right? 1 plus 7 is 8, that's less than it. X could be 10. 10 plus 7 is 17, that would work fine. But I could do some false ones. I could say x is 50, and then 50 plus 7 is 57, that's greater, so that'd be false. X could be 100. Alright, so don't overcomplicate it. Think of what you could use that would be true and false for these remaining problems as well. Let me do one of the multiplication ones real quick. Alright, so here is 8 times the numbers. It needs to be less than negative 64. So to be less than a negative 64, we need to make sure this number ends up being a negative number. So I'm going to multiply in this case by, let's go with a negative, I think 8 times 8 is 64, so let's go negative 9. Because negative 9 becomes what? It becomes a negative 72, and that is less than negative 64. And then I can keep going from there. I can do negative 9, I could also do negative 10. Going the other way, if I picked really any positive number, 4, that's not going to work because that's 32, is actually greater than that one. And I can put 10 again, and that's 80. So those are 2 false statements there. So that's what you'll do over here. Just be careful of the negative sign to make sure your statement makes sense and is true or false depending on what you're going for. For number 4, okay, and I didn't do these ones, so make sure you go back and do B and D, right? Number 4, if a sign of the interest of a parking structure reads that to enter the parking structure, the vehicle must be 12 feet 6 inches or shorter, right, or less, right? If x represents the height of the vehicle, which of the following can be true? So we want to have the height of the vehicle needs to be less than 12 feet 6 inches. So which one of these reads as x is less than 12 feet 6 inches? Well, here is x is less than 12 feet 6 inches. Here x is greater than 12, here x is equal to 12. So we want the one that says x is less than 12 feet 6 inches. Now it says list a possible height that the vehicle could be that would be allowed to enter. You need to pick a height that's going to be the value of x, less than 12 feet 6. Okay, so I could say the vehicle could be 1 foot tall. Now I'm going to write 1 foot tall. I would recommend you don't write a vehicle height of 1 foot tall because that's not realistic, right? So for you, think of how tall a vehicle could be, but it needs to be less than that. If you write 1 foot, your teacher's probably going to say, all you did was copy Mr. Morgan's answer. And that would be a true statement. So yeah, 1 foot's right, but it's not a great answer. It's lame. Okay, number 5. Match each sentence with the inequality that represents the situation. Okay. Priya had a third of the money that Andre had. So if she had a third of the money that Andre had, she would have less than $39. So if she had 1/3 of whatever Andre had, that's going to be less than 39. And where do we see that at? Okay, we see it right here with D. So D goes right here. So D goes with this one. Jada spent $17 of allowance and now has less than $52. So she had some money, she spent 17, and now she has whatever this is, it is less than $52. Where do we see that at? We see right there in B. If Claire tripled the amount of money, so triple means what? So 3 times the amount of money she had, she would have less than 39. So we have less than 39. And we see that right there at C. After being given 17 for his birthday, he had some money, he was given 17, he had less than 52. Alright, and so we just read those out, and that's what that is. So read them carefully and make sure you know what's going on there. Let's look at the back side. Here we have 3 inequalities here, and I want you to draw a solution set for each of the following inequalities. So for the first one, we have x is less than or equal to -5. So we need to pick a value, find -5, which is right here, and draw a circle. Now because it's less than or equal to, then I can fill in a circle because I'm going to include -5. And x needs to be less than -5, so we're going to go this way and draw an arrow in this direction. Alright, and that's the idea. For this one, make sure you turn the 5/2 into a number that you recognize. What is 5/2? Well, it's like 5 divided by 2 if you don't want to think about it that way. Right? So if you're not really sure, you could do 5 divided by 2. 5 goes in there 2 times, which is 4. We have 1 left over, so we have a remainder of 1. What do we do with that 1? That becomes a 2.5. So this is x is greater than or equal to 2.5. So draw that out there. And here we have x is less than 5. So make sure you draw it there. This one is not greater than or equal to, it's just a less than. So we're going to have an open circle and then our arrow, whichever way the arrow ends up going. But I'll let you figure that one out there. Okay. Number 7, Lynn deposited $320 in her savings account. Each year, the amount of money increases by 1.8%. How much money was in her account after 1 year? So we have this much, and we're going to increase by 1.8. And the question is, how much money is in her account after the year? Well, couple ways we can approach this. We could first find out what is 1.8% of 320. So 1.8% of 320. So that becomes multiplying by 0.018 times 320 to find out what that 1.8% of 320 is actually going to be. So if I get out a calculator, I'm going to get a calculator now because again I'm just doing the homework to help you out here, times 320, we end up with 5.76, right? So that's 1.8% increase. But remember, this is not what the question is. The question wants to know how much money was in her account after 1 year. Now, if all that was in her account was $5.76, then what happened to that 320? She got robbed. It all left. It has an increase. So we need to add this amount back to the original, 320, and that's going to give you your actual answer. So I'm going to leave it like that so you can do the math there. So we're going to add the 576 plus the 320 to get a solution. All right, looking down here, we have some review from Unit 5, simplify the expression. So we have -32 minus a minus becomes plus. Now the signs are different, so I find the difference. 32 minus 9 is going to be 23. And I look at which one has the greater absolute value, the negative or the positive. Well, the negative does, so we make this a negative 23. All right. On this one right here, I can, first of all, I can do what's inside the parentheses, which is negative 4 plus 1, which is negative 3. And I'm going to multiply that by 5 and then add it to 10.25. So 5 times negative 13 is negative 15. So 10.25 plus a negative 15. I'm going to find the difference, 15 minus 10.25. I'm going to borrow there. So 10 minus 5 is 5, 9 minus 2 is 7, 4 minus 0 is 4. So we have 475, but I'm not done yet. This is a large negative number subtracting a positive number, smaller. So we're going to keep the sign negative there for our solution. Okay, so that's a great little problem there. On this one here, we have 63 divided by 9. 63 divided by 9 is 7, but it's a negative divided by positive, so we're going to keep it as a negative. In this case, we're going to multiply 2/3 times negative 18. It's not subtracting 18, we're going to multiply by 18. That's why they use the parentheses, as far as we can tell. So first, let's reduce. 3 goes into 18 6 times, but remember, it's a negative. 2 times negative 6 is negative 12 plus a negative 18. The signs here are the same, so we find the sum. 18 plus 12 is what? 18 plus 12 is 30, but I keep the signs the same, so we make this a negative 30. Just like so. Alright, finally down below, solving some equations, which we had earlier as well. Alright, in this case here, I could choose to divide both sides by 8 to begin with. That goes away. So now I have x plus 2 equals 16 divided by 8 is 2. Subtract 2, and x equals 0. Can you have x equals 0? Sure you can. Think back up here. What do you want? If x equals 0, then it becomes 2, and 8 times 2 is 16. That's fine. So sometimes your answer is going to be 0, and that's all right. Okay? Use distributive property here if you want, or divide there first if you want. And these ones, again, subtract first of all, get rid of the whole numbers first, and then work about on the multiplication part by dividing. All right, moving on to number 15. So the pizza shop offers 3 sizes of pizza. The small, medium, and large pizzas have diameters of 8, 10, and 12 inches. What is the area of each size of pizza? So the area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. So let's just take a look at let's do the large one first, okay? So for the large one, this is going to be, the area is going to be equal to pi times the radius. Well, what's the radius? They gave us the diameter. Well, radius is half of that, right? Well, half of that, what's half of 12? 6. So pi 6 squared. And 6 squared is going to be 36. And so we could say 36 pi and leave it like that. I'm not sure what your teacher wants you to do exactly, so it's up to you if you want to keep with that or multiply by 3.14. So if you chose to, you can multiply by 3.14, and if you did that, you're going to end up with 113.04, and we're dealing with inches, so we'll do inches squared, and that's the area of the large one. You can do the same thing for the small and medium, but remember, they gave you diameter. You want to find the radius to use your formula. All right, that's it for today. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.